So if you're thinking about moving to DC or Northern Virginia in general, this is the video for you, because today at Open House, Zach sits down with Adrian Pessel to talk about Alexandria, Virginia. So they get into the history, the jobs, what to do in and around the area. And if you like this video, which I'm sure you will, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, because in this channel we talk about everything that there is to know about living in and around the DC, Maryland, Virginia area to help folks out of state learn exactly where to move and who to call when they want to make that smooth move to DC. So definitely check out our contact information in the description below, and let's get into the conversation between Zach and Adrian.
Hey guys, welcome back to Living in DC. My name is Zach, and today we have Adrian with us. We're going to be talking about Alexandria, Virginia. So Adrian, how about you introduce yourself? Tell us how long you've been a realtor, how long you've lived in the Alexandria area, and what made you get into real estate in the first place.
Hey, Zach. So I'm Adriene Pessel. I've been a real estate agent for over 32 years. I've been living in Alexandria for over 35. One of the reasons why I got into real estate is about 36 years ago, I was interested in buying a home. So my husband and I, we were out looking, and we had an agent who was a very lovely woman, and she helped us and all, but I wanted more information. So I started digging down and deep into, what the market stats were, how things were going, and started doing a whole bunch of research. And I would share that with my agent, and she made the jokes that she goes, "Wow, you should be the real estate agent." So I laughed and kept on going. And each time we got a little deeper, I would do more research. And until we bought the house, and my husband looked at me and said, "You know what, you really should be a real estate agent." And then my mother-in-law, who happened to be an agent in Northern Jersey, basically said the same thing. So here I am today, being an agent 35 years later. And I love it, because part of being an agent is teaching. And I've always had a love of sharing information so I can help buyers and sellers.
Sweet. Well, and that's one of the reasons why I think you're perfect for what we're doing here with Living in DC. Is like, we are trying to provide as much valuable information in as short amount of time as possible to buyers who are looking to either relocate in DC or move to DC for the first time. And so yeah, I'm really excited for what you have to share about Alexandria. What's the culture like in Alexandria? Because, if people are looking at a map, they know it's nearby DC. What's unique about Alexandria?
Well, Alexandria is really kind of interesting because it spans south of Arlington, and it's east of Springfield, and then it's north of Lorton. So it covers a really big area. So you can actually get city-like living, and you can get more rural, where you have like a couple acres of land and lots of trees. But the area I'm going to cover today is going to be more of the south part, below Old Town Alexandria and above the Lorton area, which is basically referred to as the Mount Vernon area. And it spans along the Potomac River, and it is a lovely, lovely area to live in. The lots are usually a half acre to an acre lots. The homes sometimes can be a little bit older. There are some new construction here, but the treed and the landscape is just really fabulous. And the historic area that we are immersed in, it's unparalleled. You have George Washington's Mount Vernon, which is in the south part of Alexandria. Then maybe 8 miles up the road, which is on GW Parkway, you have historic Old Town Alexandria. Then you have Gunston Hall, which is George Mason's home. And you have all these beautiful areas that you can walk your kids through, go to festivals, and just see really history. And then if you like going to breweries or distilleries, George Washington, which I'm sure a lot of people don't know, had his own whiskey distillery, and that's within a mile of his mansion.
That is really interesting. I had no idea. So you learn something new every day.
Great.
What else about the history in the area you covered some of it, and you mentioned like art festivals that they do and things like that. Do they do anything big for historical holidays like the 4th of July?
They have, reenactments, 18th century reenactments. They do George Washington's birthday. Oh my goodness. You want to go to a fun party, you go to George Washington's birthday. They have people that are dressed up as George Washington and Martha. And the funny part is they do not go out of character. And within George Washington's, the Mount Vernon estate, there is the livestock area that has just wonderful stuff. So if you have little kids and you want to see it, like, lambs and cattle and sheep and, all the other kind of stuff. And I'm probably saying maybe some of the terms wrong of what they are, because I'm not an animal specialist, but all I know, the livestock is just really, really, really cool. Now you go up the road a little bit to Old Town Alexandria, and they have Scottish Walk Festival, which is the holiday parade that they do before Christmas. And they just had in September, they had halfway to St. Patrick's Day parade. So it's the halfway time parade that they have a parade, and all the bars and everything. They have outdoor seating, which is really kind of fun. They have, again, more festivals. They have then there's the marina right down there. So they do a lot of different things just right there at the marina, where you can go in and take boat rides all down the Potomac over and see the monuments from the river view, which is really spectacular. Great sunset views. You can actually rent the boats and do family weddings and events and company. I mean, my company that I work with, we have done several company team building events on a boat that goes up and down the Potomac. Like, how fun is that?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like there's a ton of events and just community things happening in Alexandria all the time, which is really, really cool. And I think that complements the rich history very well. What about everyday life in Alexandria? Where do people tend to work? Where does that work typically come from? Where do people shop and eat? What does that look like?
Well, the everyday life of our area, which is actually really cool in and of itself. You don't need the festivals. Along the trail from Mount Vernon all the way into DC, there is an 18-mile walking, biking, hiking trail.
Wow.
That's designated just for that goes all along the Potomac. Everyday life, there's grist mill, there's parks, there's the soccer leagues, there's all that kind of stuff. And for people that work around here, people work in DC. So you have, like I said, you have the GW Parkway that goes right into Old Town and then go into DC, which is fabulous for commuting because there are no traffic lights.
That's
It's
nice.
an easy commute. It's 8 miles. And when one of the things about in DC, a lot of people that live further out in the suburbs, they like to say, oh, we're only 20 miles away from DC. Well, 20 miles in traffic is really an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, that sucks.
So in Mount Vernon, the cool part about it is when you live down in Mount Vernon, the 8 miles up to Old Town is really only 8 miles, 8 to 10 minutes, maybe a little bit longer because it's not a 60-mile-an-hour speed limit. It's like 45 or so, but it's a short distance. Then you have, so people work in DC. Like I said, it's a quick drive to DC. And then we have, besides the Parkway going north and west, we have another road, 286, that goes up that way. And that goes into, so if you want to go out to Reston, Chantilly, and it's really easy. So if you're going to work for any of the big tech companies, you can go that way. People work for consulting, they work for the DOD, they work for anything with the federal government, hospitality, because we have all this historic and people come to visit DC for the events. The other part that's really kind of cool, you have a lot of people that travel, maybe consultants, and they travel because you have National Airport, which is right outside of Old Town, which is maybe about a 20-minute drive. Then you have Dulles Airport, which is like a 45-minute drive that you go on 280. I believe the road is 286. And for some reason, I'm having a brain freeze here, what that road is called. And then if you want, you can also even go up the Parkway to going into Maryland and go to BWI and use that airport. So you have 3 really big airports. One in 20 to 30 minutes, the other one, like maybe an hour, that goes to all different hubs. So there's a lot of good stuff just in this location of people. And not to mention, I'm sure it's making the news. People know that you can go, Amazon is in Crystal City, which is right on the outskirts of Old Town Alexandria. And they have their big headquarters there.
That's cool. Yeah. So, and I know that government jobs are pretty huge.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Sorry, I forgot about that. It's almost like a standard.
So what, aside from that, like, where would you say, and I know that you mentioned a lot of people come and visit the area too, so the hospitality is pretty big. What would you say is like the biggest source of jobs within Alexandria itself?
We don't have one source of employment. We have military, we have government, we have hospitality, we have local businesses, we have, the private sector. I mean, you name it, it's here. And the government, the nice part, the government isn't getting any smaller. So you have all the consulting firms that really support that as well.
That's really, that is really important, especially to families with children, as they want to know, like, when things get bad, do I have opportunity? So
Exactly.
it does seem like there's a lot of opportunity. And speaking of, families with kids, what are the schools like out there? Are there, just public schools? Are there tons of private schools? What does that look like?
Within Alexandria, we have such a diverse collection of schools and academies that can meet your family's personal and educational needs. It's really what you're looking at. There's so many opportunities. Just see what your kids has a love for and that works for you, and then you go with it. And there are more opportunities here than I believe than any place else.
That's great. And does that go for public schools as well? Because I've
Yeah.
heard of the, I think the magnet program.
One of the schools that we have, which is Thomas Jefferson, which is in our area, and you have to qualify to get into that. You take a test in. So then there's local, gifted and talented schools that your kids can go to. But the thing is that every parent wants to think their kids are gifted and talented, but we're so much more than that, right? As a parent, I'm speaking as a parent, not as an agent. We want to make sure that our kids are happy and successful. And so the opportunity is what you're looking for. Let your kid grow, let your kid experience life, and you have an involvement with them, and then watch them grow, and they're going to show you where they should go. And I think is really cool, which is great.
I like that. Yeah. Where I grew up, there wasn't really any other option than the school that I went to, so it's kind of an interesting thought to think about what it would have been like as a kid if I had that many opportunities for education. So that's really great. And I think that all of these things put together are definitely creating a really good reason for someone to want to move to Alexandria. So then that begs the question, like, how much house can you get for how much money typically?
You're outside of DC, so it's not like buying in middle America. It is more expensive. So depending on whether you want a townhouse, condos, we have the gamut. You can get an efficiency little condo to a big McMansion. Prices range from about $250 to $45 million. That's a huge mansion on the water. So it really varies what you're looking for. So it's not as cheap as, like I said, buying middle America. So they range from $250, maybe you can get a little efficiency, but you have a little condo fee, to, up to whatever you want. But I would say the average, if you look at the mean price in the Mount Vernon area, it's about $600,000. And that would be for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, an older home. But what you get here, you get land, you get green. You don't have to look out your window and see your neighbor's house. Where some of the areas that are further out, you get bigger homes, more grand homes, and that's great if that's what you're looking for, but you have like 0 lot lines. And so it's what you're looking for. A lot of the communities, or several, not a lot, but several of the communities that are in the Mount Vernon area have their own marinas. So you can keep a little boat there, and they're reasonable. And these areas aren't high-end $1 million communities. They are where the mean home is like, $600,000. You could buy a house in there that's for $650, and you can walk to the pool and the marina and put your little, fishing boat or your jet ski in and cruise around and have a really fun time.
Jet skis. So
yeah, it's fun. It's really a cool thing. We have, like I said before, breweries. You got Port City, you got Fair Winds. Restaurants, you can get from sushi to Italian to, there's a really great restaurant in Old Town called Sister Thai, which is really great. There's an oyster bar. You name it. We kind of have it here. There's a Wegmans, there's a Costco. What else do you need? Right?
Yeah, true. What would you say, just to kind of wrap things up? I'm curious what your favorite restaurant is, as far as like maybe the most unique restaurant that you wouldn't be able to get in any other city. I'm totally curious about that.
I don't know if I have one. That's a hard question.
But
I do know that my favorite place to get pizza is Red Rock in Old Town. That's my husband and our date night. And there's a tequila bar right next door, which is kind of fun. Not far, right up the street.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, it's fun. I think there's a lot of different restaurants. So I think it would be hard for me to pick.
No, that's totally okay. Well, Adrian, I appreciate you coming on the show today and talking
Good.
to us about Alexandria. You have a wealth of knowledge, and I think we all learned something new today. If you guys are looking to move into the DC area, definitely consider working with Adrian. She's a great agent. She obviously knows her stuff. Book a call with us, and we would love to shoot you in the right direction.
Excellent. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.
You too.